Let me begin by thanking all of you for your generosity. Over the last several months, we have raised many millions of dollars for working class organizations involved in protecting workers during the coronavirus pandemic. We have also raised a very substantial amount of money for progressive candidates who are running for the U.S. Congress, who are running for state legislatures all around the country, and for candidates for district attorney. You may not think that's important. It is enormously important because district attorneys are on the front line in the fight for police department reform and criminal justice reform. And with your help, we have also raised a very significant amount of money for some great grassroots organizations who are leading the fight for racial justice. As some of you may know, just the other day, I sent a rather detailed letter to Democratic leader Chuck Schumer. And in that letter, I made the case that it is absolutely imperative in this moment in history that we have fundamental police department reform. And the bottom line there is that we must hold all police officers accountable. And when they break the law, they must be taken to court and they must be punished to the full extent of the law if in fact they are guilty. Time is long overdue for us to move in that direction, and I've listed a whole bunch of provisions which must be implemented. And for more information on that, you can go to our social media. But when we're talking about police department reform, we can't lose sight of the need for criminal justice reform. And that means we have to deal with the reality that today we have more people in jail, over 2 million, than any other major country on earth, than any other country on earth. That disproportionately, those people are African American, they're Latino, they are Native American. And what we must do, in my view, is change our priorities. We must be investing in jobs and education for our young people, not more jails, not more incarceration. So let us stay focused on the need for overall criminal justice reform as we also deal with police department reform. Furthermore, I want to say that it astounds me how in the midst of this unprecedented crisis facing our country, where tens of millions of people have lost their jobs, where people today are facing hunger, people are worried about whether they're going to get evicted from their apartments, lose their homes, we have a Republican leadership in the Senate that is running the most do-nothing U.S. Senate in modern American history. They seem to be impervious to the pain that millions of our people are feeling, and I am going to do everything that I can to make sure that they act boldly, and that we act as soon as we possibly can to protect the many millions of working class people, lower income people who are struggling just to survive at this moment. And among many other things, we've got to pass a Paycheck Security Act so that workers continue to receive the paychecks that they previously had received, something that is being implemented throughout Europe. We need to make sure that every American during this crisis gets $2,000 a month in order to make sure that they can live with dignity and security. And as we continue the fight for a Medicare for All single-payer system, at least during this crisis, we've got to make sure that everybody can go to the doctor, go to the hospital without worrying about out-of-pocket expenses. So we've got to have Medicare supplement whatever types of health care you may or may not have. Furthermore, I don't have to tell anybody that our stable genius in the White House, Donald Trump, has no understanding or respect for the Constitution of the United States. His belief in authoritarianism is becoming clearer and clearer, hard to anybody to not see that. And I appreciate even former secretaries of defense, people in the military, former military people, making that point. And that point is that in the United States of America, we don't put the U.S. military in the streets to attack peaceful demonstrators. That is not what we do. And we have to fight as hard as we can against that growing authoritarianism and disregard for the Constitution that is coming from the White House. Lastly, I want to congratulate the tens and tens and tens of thousands of people who have taken to the streets in the fight for police department reform, in the fight to end police brutality in all its ugly aspects. And my belief is that we have got to take that outrage into so many areas that we have to stand up now and continue the fight as if more than we have ever done before, in demanding that we have a government, that we have an economy, that we have a healthcare system, that we have an energy system, that we have an immigration system that represents the needs of all people and not just the wealthy few. So the outrage is there. We are seeing all over this country people fighting for justice. Let's continue that struggle. Let's create the kind of nation that you and I know that we can become. Thank you all very much.